Can you both make a comment about how your defense creates offense when you get that many turnovers and 18 steals, and how many easy buckets you get because of that?
Good.
Our defense creates our offense just because when we play with a lot of energy and we're real intense, we get a lot of deflections, and that's how we wind up going in transition and getting easy buckets.
Yeah, and there's games where shots just don't fall, but you can bring your defense to every game, and you can really count on that. So we really just count on our defense to get our offense started.
This is kind of a random question, but I know that Lene plays against you guys a lot in practice, and I'm wondering what makes her hard to guard.
Lene has a great first step, and she rebounds the ball really well. Lene's a very competitive individual, and she's going to continue to grow in that area, and it's a lot of fun to play against.
She's she's probably the most talented player we have on the team. She's a strong guard who can grab rebounds, and she uses her body really well to score.
After kind of getting a chance to look at Dayton, what is it about their team that really kind of sticks out to you guys?
Just watching them yesterday in the Iowa State game, something that really stuck to me was how fundamental they were and how well they execute and push the ball and how well coached they are. So they're a great team, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play against them.
What's the difference when you guys, between the end of the SEC and now that you're playing better with more energy, or different phases of the season kind of lumped together? What are you doing differently?
We've changed our mindset after having that meeting with Matthew. Everything's changed since then. But probably the highlight of the whole SEC tournament was the meeting prior to it.
Rhea, do you want to follow up on that?
Sure. Like Jen said, just that meeting really just changed the way we approach practices, games, checking in the hotel. Our conversations are different, like when you're in the rooms at the hotels. It's just our demeanor has changed, and we're really hungry, and we're all really pretty much on the same page.
Can you expound on that a little bit? I mean, checking into the hotel differently, talking in rooms differently. I mean, that's stuff we obviously don't see, so what's the difference in there?
When you're in there with your roommate, it's a lot about the game and how we can do this to improve, and there's questions being asked on the scouting reports. Just the focus, outside of the court has changed. I can go on and on if I can. It'll probably all come back to me, but it's just changed, and we're really focused.
Any other questions for the student athletes?
I think they have 5 or 6 players over 6 feet tall. You guys have faced size before, but sometimes it causes you problems. Do you have a game plan to sort of attack that?
Attack their body.
Yeah. Like you said, we've had experience with this before, and we have to really use our speed and our athleticism to get in our fundamentals that we practice every day to pursue.
Anything else for our student athletes? Any others? Okay. If not, thank you for your time. You're excused to head back to the locker room. Okay, at this time we have questions for the head coach. Any questions for Coach Mitchell?
Matthew, do you see a change that's that dramatic in your ladies as far as how they're approaching everything from checking into the hotel, whatever?
Yeah, we just had a distracted group. We were distracted and with different things going on, and I think it was just a bit of immaturity with our team. And so what they're talking about is that we just tried to things that maybe I haven't had the stress with prior teams about staying focused. So there's, it's little things, but just trying to eliminate the distractions. So instead of, everybody getting on the bus and putting their head in their phone and kind of going into their own spot, let's put the phones away and let's talk to each other, things like that. Nothing more dramatic than that, but it did have a dramatic effect on how the team connects. And it's just the way that we live now. It's not anything negative, in the world, except when you're really trying to come together. When your team depends on being cohesive and out hustling people and having to play harder to raise your level, your ability to be connected is much more important than if we were just the most talented team in the country and we didn't really have to worry about that connection that we have. So it's really what might on the outside seem small, like putting your phones away, talking to each other, spending time in a team room with no distractions and no outside distractions, has really had a powerful effect. Taking the floor with the team before the game and running the warm-ups and putting them through where they can really stay focused and it's more practice-like and you can warm up game speed. It's just been small things like that have allowed the team to zero in and change their mindset. So it's very simple but pretty powerful.
Can I follow up with that? Is it safe to say, or you might not want to admit this, before the team changed, if somebody was said to you, hey, can you make the Final Four, you might not want to tell us, but you would say, I don't know, we don't have it together, and now the way your team is playing, that you're much more optimistic than you were before this change?
I think what happened with us and our locker room was when Janae Thompson got hurt, she had that confrontational edge about her that could kind of keep everybody, and the seniors have been great and have done a great job. They lead a little bit differently, maybe not so confrontational and that's a good thing about Janae. So now she's rehabbing off the court, and I think it was just a gradual, it kind of hit us before we knew it, 3-game slide, and you don't even realize it till the seniors come and say how distracted everyone was. And so, we certainly didn't look like a team that had much hope to do well in the NCAA tournament when we left Oxford, Mississippi, but I would say that we have a lot of confidence in our ability to play well tomorrow and see if we can advance against a good Dayton team. So, it's a lot of things go into building a team and having a good team, and sometimes things happen along the way unexpectedly, and you find yourself in a spot like we found ourselves after the Ole Miss game, kind of searching for what's going on, and that's why I'm so grateful to the seniors. They really, I think, confronted an issue that helped us have a chance to have some success in the tournament.
When your assistant coach was also an assistant coach at the team you're playing, can you draw anything from his player analysis or plays that they run, and what ways have you sort of had to do that?
Well, it would be, it might be more helpful if it were a game on a schedule and you had multiple days to really prepare, and you had a team that is able to take in a lot of information, and really a veteran team that can kind of make changes on the fly. It might be more beneficial than our particular team has to really stay focused on what they need to do. And I've said this many times, we can't get overly focused on the opponent, and especially in a tournament setting. Dayton does a great job, and they just execute so well, and they are very explosive offensively, and so we'll need to do the things that Kentucky does well to try to take them out of being able to execute. And so the advantage, I think, is negligible. I don't think that it's really anything. It's certainly not anything we even mentioned with our team. Does it give Dayton a little bit of added motivation? You'll have to ask them. All I can do is get our team as prepared as possible. And, as we relay the information to the team, it's not like we have some secret behind-the-scenes knowledge that's going to turn the trick for us tomorrow. We got to go out there and really focus on what we do well. And so it's in this kind of setting, it's just not really much of a factor, I don't believe.
Coach, what challenges does Dayton kind of present to you guys?
Well, some of the things that they do that are so impressive is the pace with which they play. They really put a lot of pressure on your transition defense. And I just love their organization and their ability to execute. And out of transition is something we'll really practice hard today, trying to get prepared for. And then just the skill level of their team. It's a dangerous team where just virtually everyone on the floor can make threes, and just puts a lot of pressure on your defense. And we are a defense that relies on disruption, and they're an offense that relies on execution. So it's really going to be a battle of wills there to see who can do their stuff better. But I think that's what the tournament's all about. I don't think that you can become something that you're not overnight. And so we just have to go out and really try to play great Kentucky basketball and see if that'll be good enough tomorrow. But Dayton's a very talented team. I can still remember the matchup with them 2 years ago. A lot of those players are still there. Hoover, Malott, Austria, Dean, all those kids were in that game, and it was a really, really tough game for us. And I think watching that game last night was very helpful, and seeing what's going on. And they're a little bit different, we're a little bit different, but I expect another very difficult game for us, and we'll have to rise and meet the challenge, because they certainly will challenge us.
That game required a heroic effort from Adia Mathis, I think, to win that game. And do you have anyone on this team that could sort of emulate and maybe take over when they need to in this kind of setting?
Yeah, that was a strange circumstance there. We had that stomach bug running through the team, and I was as shaky before that game as far as like what are we going to do tonight, because literally nobody on the team felt well. That was the game where Samari Walker veered off the court and then came back on. That was a very interesting transition possession during that game. And so, I think that this team that we have right now has to play together, has to do it together. And do we have somebody that could put up a ton of points tomorrow? We certainly have some talented players that could and have shown it before. And Jen's, scored a lot of points in the game. Alexis Jennings scored a lot of points in the game. Michaela Epps has scored a bunch. Harp, So we have some people that could. So you just never know. It won't be our focus to go into the game tomorrow with one person standing out. It'll be to try to have our team beat their team. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
You mentioned Harper for a second. I was looking at her numbers as a sophomore versus Adia Mathis's numbers as a sophomore, and they're pretty comparable. Do you think she gets overlooked somewhat because maybe of the offensive flash of Michaela or Jen? And Jen said she thinks she might be the best all-around player on the team. Do you agree with that?
She's extremely talented and very gifted, and I think what she has done this year has done a better job than last year with her approach to her game. And I think she right now is just in the stage of her career where she just needs to continue to put great emphasis on her work ethic and attention to detail in practice, and spending time outside of practice, shooting the basketball, becoming a better ball handler, improving fitness, all those things that take a good player and make him a great player. And I just love her attitude right now. She has a really good attitude. I think she has grown as a person during this SEC season. And, I think she has opportunity to be a great player here. There's no question about it.
Time for a couple more.
Well, what kind of issue does Allie Malott from Dayton kind of give you guys defensively with her ability to shoot the three and post up both?
Yeah, it's one thing that I respect and one thing that we really try to recruit at Kentucky's versatility. We love versatile players, and so we definitely are aware and respect Allie Malott's versatility, and it's special. She was, a player that I would have loved to have come to Kentucky. We gave it our best shot there, and it didn't happen. And so I've been aware of her for a long time and have watched her with great admiration, and we have, competed against her in preseason scrimmages a couple times, and then in the NCAA tournament. So we're very aware of what she can do and what her abilities are. And you just have to focus in, and you have to limit your mistakes because when you make a mistake against Dayton, they really make you pay. And Allie's one of the people that can make you pay. And so she... her ability to shoot the basketball, her size around the basket, I thought she really affected Iowa State yesterday just with her athleticism around the basket. And so she poses a lot of challenges, and we'll have to, again, make certain we rise to the occasion.
How many times have you watched the George Washington versus Dayton in games where they've lost? I mean, half their losses have been to that same team that sort of plays the same style that you guys try to play. Can you glean some things from those losses?
Well, one thing that I thought GW did was they hustled, and I thought I just thought it's two really good teams playing against each other, and a lot like our matchups with Tennessee. They got us 3 times this year. It could have gone the other way. Maybe it didn't. Kind of same thing with Dayton and GW. They were very good teams. And I think the biggest thing I saw from George Washington versus Dayton is you just have to play very hard. You have to play really hard. You have to stay the course. They are going to score some points tomorrow. They're going to have some success in the game. They're just that talented and that good. And I think our attitude has to be 40-minute game, playing, doing everything that we can to play harder than Dayton tomorrow and out-hustle Dayton tomorrow. And if we can do that, we'll have a chance.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
everybody.